Perfect. So can I just see who's an entrepreneur already in the room? Awesome. Who's a newer entrepreneur? Who's more established? Okay. What about the other people that first raised their hand didn't the second time? In the middle? Okay, cool. So do any of you feel like, okay, so I have this business and I kind of feel like the marketplace is so saturated, like it's really hard for me to get seen. Maybe you're posting on Facebook or maybe you're just doing whatever and people don't really seem to know who you are. Does anyone feel that way ever? Whoa, you guys are all rock stars. That's great. Well, I don't know what I'm doing on the stage right now. No, but this is something that a lot of my clients struggle with. They feel like, I'm putting all this energy, all this effort into actually being seen, but yet I still feel like a hidden gem. And you might have a big purpose behind what you're doing. You might have a mission, a message that you want to share with the world. So what the heck, right? And here's the thing, especially for the newer entrepreneurs, the odds are actually stacked against you. So Joe mentioned that most businesses fail within 10 years, 96%. That's crazy. So this is a quote that I found, or a stat that I found. Entrepreneurs who succeeded in a prior venture, such as a company that went public, have a 30% chance of success in their next venture. On the other hand, first-time business owners only have an 18% chance of succeeding, and entrepreneurs who previously failed have a 20% chance of success. So that's not very exciting, right? Like, man, so I'm basically like, why are we in business in the first place? Like, clearly, we're not supposed to succeed. Like, the odds are stacked against us, so why are we doing it? Well, we're all a little bit crazy, I think, first of all. But we're doing it with a purpose. Right? We all went into this not just for the love of money, right? We want to do something bigger with our lives. We actually want to impact people. We want to make a difference. So with this, that doesn't sit right with me. Does this sit right with you? No? So I wanted to know, why do people fail? Why do people that start businesses fail? So I found this graph, and you'll notice that 46% is due to incompetence, which means that you just don't know what you're doing. 30% is lack of managerial experience. So yes, you have to know how to manage yourself, especially as a solopreneur. You have to know how to manage your team. You have to know how to manage your clients to actually grow. 11% is lack of experience in general. So you've never maybe had a business before. You don't have a background in business or marketing or whatever. And 18% is other, like fraud, like natural disasters, like neglect. So when I saw this, I got really happy because this is good news. You want to know why? Because these are preventable. Okay? So neglect, that's pretty clear. Don't neglect your business. If you're going to start a business, you're going to have to show up and actually do something with it. So that is preventable. Incompetence, well, this is why Joe exists, this is why I exist, this is why courses and events like this are out there, so you can come and get the knowledge, get the support you need to know what you're doing, right? To feel like, okay, I got this. Same with lack of experience on managerial side or just in general. This is why we have support. So I'm really glad that every single one of you is here right now because you're taking charge of your own business, right? You're showing up, you're doing what needs to happen for you to grow, okay? So that's amazing. So what I really want to do is this is your wake-up call, right? You're going to have to commit to your business. There's so many people, and this breaks my heart. There's so many people that I would speak to. Maybe we'll have like discovery call or whatever. And let's say 3 years ago, I started my business 3.5 years ago. Some people that I talked to 3.5 years ago, just randomly, I'm like, oh, what happened to this person? I looked them up. Nope, not in business anymore. Another person, I'm like, oh, she had a really interesting message. She was like so on fire when we were talking. Oh, no, she's back in her 9 to 5. So I don't want that to happen to you, right? I know that there's a reason why you're here. There's a reason why you want to start a business or you have a business. And you're going to have to commit to doing it. You're going to have to actually full body have that investment, that commitment, energetically, financially. This has to be a priority. And here's the good news. In the beginning of my business, it was Not the easiest thing ever. I definitely had to make a lot of sacrifices. But because I committed so full-heartedly, because I knew that there's nothing that's going to stand in my way, I persevered, and I was able to come out on the other side. So I know that this is something that is huge. So what I want to do today is, we'll see how much we go through, but I really want to support you in beating those odds, right? I actually want you to have the odds stacked for you. I want you to actually succeed, right? This is why I do what I do. So what we're going to talk about today is I'm going to show you how you can understand a way to position yourself in a way that sets you apart from the masses. Because there's a lot of people that do what you do. Whether you're a health coach or a healer or whatever, there's like 1,000, if not more, people that do what you do already. So how do you stand apart? How do you actually show up as authentically you, and then people can actually resonate with what you have to say so that they want to work with you and tell others about you? I'll also share with you how to create a foundation for a profitable and impactful business model. And then if we have time, we'll talk about stepping into leverage style offers and passive income so you can create more growth in your business with ease. That's not gonna be the perfect fit for everybody, but we'll see if we can get to that. So does that sound good? Yeah? Awesome. So this is just me, so you know, I'm Kamila. And I've had my business for about 3.5 years, 2 of which have been full-time, and featured in all these places, whatever. And something that I really love doing is being able to support really passionate entrepreneurs who are online-based and service-based, coaches, consultants, course creators, a lot of people that are personal brands, to actually feel confident and empowered in stepping up as a leader. Because you can't, I truly believe that if you're gonna be hiding, you're gonna be 96%. If you are authentically yourself as a coach, as a healer, as a product-based business that actually feels aligned, you're gonna be the 96%. Right? You're going to have to do things differently. And I don't have it all figured out. I've had a business for 3.5 years. Well, hopefully by year 10, I will still be in business. Going well so far. But what I want to start talking about is this picture right here. So this is me with my cousin, Robert, back in Poland. I lived and grew up in Poland. I don't know how old I am. I don't really know how old kids look, so I have no idea. Like, how old would you say that is? Like 10, 9, 7? See, I don't know. I know nothing. I'm not around kids very often, so I'm like, no idea. But what I want you to notice is what's happening behind me. So does anyone know Sailor Moon? So these are all of my drawings of Sailor Moon. Like, I was obsessed. So I'm the kind of person that if I see something that's really cool and I'm like, all right, I love this. This is awesome. I'm gonna try to do it. So here I am trying to make my own Sailor Moon comics and storylines and whatever. So I was super passionate about it. I thought I wanted to be a graphic novelist. I did all the things. And then when I was 12 years old, still living in Poland, we got dial-up internet for the first time. And my mind was like blown. So let me just explain this, because I lived in a small town in Poland, like less than 10,000 people, surrounded by cornfields. I was one of 2 people in the entire town that even knew what like manga and anime was. And my mom was like, where did you even, like, I don't understand. And I don't either, but it was meant to be, like, apparently. So I got dial-up internet, and it's like the whole world open. My mom was like, you can't go online because people won't be able to call us. Remember dial-up internet? And then she tried to call us, and she's like, Kamila, why am I not able to call our home line? I don't know. And then the bill would come, and she's like, do you know how many hours you spent online? I'm like, well, let me show you what I did. So what I actually did is I found chat rooms where people in this community were all talking together. I was like, wow, there's other people that like this. This is cool. And I found websites that were actually providing Japanese comics translated from Japanese, English, whatever other language into Polish. So I was like, I can do that too. So I learned HTML. Within a month, I had a website up. Within 4 months, it was one of the top websites for manga explanation in Poland. And I had a virtual team that was supporting me in the process. 12 years old. So that was awesome. And when I was 13, we moved to America, to Chicago. And you're in that age, when you're 13, you're in that age where you're trying to be liked and you're trying to like find your way. And as a kid, it's easier to just like not give a, beep about what people think. You're just liking your stuff and like, I don't care if nobody else likes it, I like it and that's who I am. So we moved to America, we moved to Chicago to join my dad, who's already been living in Chicago for about 6 years at that point. And I realized that I'm weird. Like, oh, so now I live in this big city. I thought I would be able to find friends pretty easily. No, the odds were stacked against me. I couldn't speak English very well, or at all. I was this weird kid that liked manga, which is like, who are you? What is this? You are not cool. Entering middle school, which is just like a whole different level of just, mean girls and everything. And, I'm trying to be liked. And I'm entering this school thinking, okay, well, what can I do? What can I do to actually feel accepted here? And what I quickly realized is that I needed to start shedding these layers of authenticity away from me. I needed to start molding and shifting who I am in order to fit in. So, unfortunately, the Polish kids that I hung out with in Chicago were not the best crowd. So I started drinking at 14 because I wanted to fit in. I had my first cigarette at like 14. I was like, oh, this is like so cool, right? No, it's not at all. And I was doing anything possible desperately just to fit in. And it was hard. Then moved to the suburbs, high school. My parents were like, she's not hanging out with the right crowd. But at that point, I was a little bit corrupted already. So I started corrupting other kids that I was hanging out with in high school. Some moms were like, you should not be hanging out with Kamila. I'm like, no, but I have straight A's, which I did. But I started partying a lot, started doing drugs, drinking, the whole shebang. And in the process, I was losing more and more of myself. It was coming to a place where I didn't even know who I actually even was. But that yearning to be creative, to express myself, to make an impact, to do all these things, it still was there. So I'm like, okay, well, I need to do something. I need to let this out because I can't keep like destroying myself. So I decided to start a photography business, which was like the more acceptable way of sharing the ideas I had and the storylines and stuff. So I did that, and I was doing some fine art photography. And that was great. And this is where I actually started doing more of the online marketing as well. And my work was featured in Maxim, Sports Illustrated, that kind of stuff. And it was really interesting because people started finding me on Google and Yelp, and I had models contacting me wanting to do photo shoots. I'm like, oh, this is cool, and like online is my thing. So that was pretty cool. And then I was like, you know what? I'm in college, studying psychology, had this side hustle, making some money. It was cool. It's not enough. I need more. I needed to like fill my life, because if I had any space in my life, I'd either go and party so I can numb myself, or I would just realize that I'm actually not being fully myself and not being my authentic truth. So I decided to add another side hustle to the mix, which was my healthy living blog. So I was like, all right, I need to lose weight because I don't fit in quite yet with these nightlife people that I was partying with and working with. Like I need to lose weight. So I'm like, all right, I'm really interested in health. So I'm gonna start a wellness blog. And this is actually, it's actually pretty good because that's where I started to notice that like, oh, marketing, online marketing is a thing. Because I started Googling, how do I grow my blog? How do I get more people to see it? Because if I create something, people need to know about it. Like that's just how I am. And I fell into content marketing, following all these influencers, all these people that were talking about this. I'm like, oh, marketing is a thing. Let me add that to my major, and let me double major in this and this, because I couldn't have a single minute to myself, of course. So that was awesome because it actually changed everything for me. And then I went to some agencies, wasn't very excited about it, and I started to bring more of myself into the process. I had a pretty life-altering experience that happened. I'm not going to get into right now, but it allowed me to start owning more of myself. So I decided I'm like, you know what? I don't really like working with boring clients, number one. I don't really like working with clients that are only after money, number two. And I don't really like working with people that like don't want to change the world in the big, like they don't want to impact the world. It was just like soul crushing to me to work with a client. The client's like, anything you want to do, we'll do it as long as the ROI is there. I'm like, so inspired, love it. So much creativity here. No. So decided to start my business 3.5 years ago, and that's what the site looks like now. But you know, all of this resulted in me being able to step more and more into myself. But I still had a lot of visibility fears. You know, growing up with wanting to be liked, with wanting to look a certain way, with being accepted, that takes a toll on us. Does anyone have like visibility fears or anything like that? Yeah, I did too. But here's what you need to understand. You must first get seen in order to make an impact, right? We might be afraid, and they're legitimate fears, right? Like, what if people don't like me? What if I'm not accepted? You might not be, right? People might not like you. That's actually a good thing, by the way. And if you're hiding, if you're lurking in the shadows thinking, okay, I'm just gonna work with like this client and this client and this client, number one, I mean, you're really not helping anybody except those people, which is your impact is pretty small in terms of a scale. And you're not helping yourself because you're lying to yourself, because you're not meant to hide, right? You're not meant to be this like hidden person just keeping, you know, your gifts and talents to yourself. You're meant to shine, right? You're meant to actually stand out and be seen and get known and like make a massive fucking impact. Do you want to know how to create that impact? So number one, I don't know what the slides are doing that, but number one is vision. So the first step that you need to really unlock for yourself is, well, what is my vision? Why am I in business in the first place? And this is what I encourage you to journal a little bit on. Why am I in business in the first place? What is the impact I want to create? What is the service I'm providing for people? And if every person was able to actually go through my services, buy my stuff, and actually like whole-bodied go through it to see the transformation, what is that transformation? Right? So we're starting to think of like, if every single person in the world had that transformation, how would that change the world? And for most people that I work with, and this is why I do what I do too, the world would be a different place. Should that happen in Vegas? Wouldn't have happened. Because we would have more love in the world. Because at the end of the day, you are doing this for a reason. And it's not just to like, I just really want a Lamborghini and that's that. That's just my main goal. You probably want to actually change people's lives. When people's lives are changed and healed, they are able to have this space to accept others. They're able to create more love for others. And that's where the world changes. So I really see my clients and all of you, you use your business as the vehicle for that change. That's what you need to realize. This is bigger than you, right? Well, I don't care if you're a VA or a designer, or whatever. It doesn't even matter what you do, but because there's always a way for you to actually make that massive impact, okay? Even if we work with entrepreneurs, what is that entrepreneur helping people with? Well, there you go. The second thing is you need enrollment. And for most people, enrollment is getting clients on board, signing on clients, talking to, prospects, whatever. You need to enroll yourself first. You need to believe in your own vision. You can't just say that I'm here to make a world a better place and I'm here to heal people of their anxiety and create relationships for people and whatever. You need to actually believe that. And you need to walk your talk. And I understand that it's not always easy. We all struggle. But you need to first enroll yourself. You need to have certainty about what you teach is the truth. If you don't, you need to do some more inner work to figure out what it is that you're supposed to be talking about. Visibility. Now, you could have these two things that I talked about before, but if you are not visible, you're not impacting people. You're keeping it to yourself. So how can you actually show up? How can you actually make that difference? What are the things that you're going to be doing on a strategic level? What are the actual things? And then are you actually fully embodying these places? Right? When you're meeting somebody, are you just like, hi, I just this is what I do, but don't ask me more about it because I don't really know. Or you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so interested in what you have to offer. Like, how can I help? It's a conversation. It doesn't have to be weird or sleazy. It's a conversation. It's a relationship. When you truly believe in what you are offering and that impact that it can make on people, sleaziness is not even a part of the equation, right? Because you are here to serve. Same with enrollment. It's serving. And when it comes to visibility and showing up, there are actually 4 categories of how you show up and how you are perceived as. Because if you're anything like me, I'm a little bit lazy, and I would rather make sure that if I'm putting all this energy and effort into actually showing up and doing all this work, I want people to actually connect with it. And I want that to have an impact on my business so I can then, have that ripple effect of impacting more people. Make sense? Can we move these slides a little bit because they look really weird? Well, anyways, this is the pyramid of trust. Pyramid of letting go. This is the pyramid of trust. The other way, okay, that's fine too. Definitely not that. That is not. Thank you. Okay, well, we're kind of skipping ahead, but the generalist is on the very bottom. So most people are generalists. Most people are people who help just a little bit of everything. Like they're not really specialized in anything. It's like your general practitioner. If you go to a doctor and you're just kind of like, I'm sick, help me, because they can help with anything, kind of. And are you going to go pay them like thousands and thousands of dollars to tell you that you have a cold? No. This is most people, this is why it's in the very bottom. Most people are generalists. They just focus on a lot of different things, everything, and they're not really forefront of the mind for the people because it's like, oh, okay, doctor. One step up is a specialist. So a specialist is somebody who specializes in an area. So if we're thinking of doctors, just a general practitioner on the very bottom, one step up would be like a surgeon or a brain surgeon or orthopedic doctor, whatever. They have a specialty in something. So those people are inevitably going to be paid more because they have more honed in skills. People are also going to seek them out and actually more eagerly give them the money and want to commit to working with that person because they know that this person knows what they're talking about. They're not just like, I just read a bunch of books and I think I know everything about these things. No, they're actually specialized. One step up is an expert. So an expert is actually not that different from a specialist, but an expert is somebody who just starts to push the envelope a little bit, whether they're actually attending events about their industry. Maybe they're speaking on panels here and there, but they're still kind of just like in their own little world, People might definitely seek them out. I mean, these people there's not as many of them. They are specialized in 1 or 2 or 3 specific areas. They're not just like a general, like anything kind of person. But they're still not quite known in the way that we all want to in terms of impact. That is an authority. So the authority is really just a celebrity expert, if we put it in that way. And if the word celebrity is like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to be a celebrity, that's what it is, it's fine. But an authority it's actually quite similar to what an expert is. It's just people actually know that you exist. Right? You're doing all the same things as an expert does. You're still pushing the envelope. Maybe you're publishing, blog posts, live streams, whatever. But people actually know who you are, right? You're actually getting seen. Other people are recommending you. This is where if a woman, I've read a story or watched a story or whatever, a woman had some kind of an illness, and then she found out about a doctor like halfway across the world. She flew to that doctor because people knew of him as the authority. He was the guy that everybody went to for that particular thing. That's powerful, right? And you best believe she's going to full-heartedly invest like herself, her mind, body, and soul to get the solution that the person was promising her. That's how you want your clients to feel too, right? Like you want them to actually be like, yes, I know you are the person for me. I know you can change my life. So I'm not going to be, worried about all the shiny objects, all the things that are floating all across my peripheral vision. I'm just going to commit to you, and we're going to have the transformation that I want to have. Make sense? So, are you guys committing to being the authority? Really? That's. Are you committed to being and living as authority? Awesome. So we have just a couple minutes left, but I want to go through a simple system for growth. So this is a little bit more strategic side. I'm not going to dig into this in any deep level, but the first step that you need to have is setting up. So this is your authority brand. And we'll talk about the authority brand shortly, but you need to actually know who it is that you're talking about, or which is yourself, right? What is it that makes you different? How are you standing out in the marketplace? What is the thing that you like to talk about? Which leads to visibility. Now that you know who you are as an entrepreneur, as an authority, as a business owner, you need to be showing up. So creating content, growing your list, getting out there, getting featured, meeting people, events. That's the step of showing up. Then we go into blowing up, which is building your tribe. So you could be a total rock star knowing everything about your topic of your area of expertise, but if people don't know that you do, then are you really an expert? It's like if a tree falls and no one hears it, did it really ever fall? Well, people need to know that you're out there. And if you want to help people, you need to grow your tribe. So that's the next step. Afterwards, we look at scaling up, which is monetizing your tribe and launching. So I talk about launching a lot with my clients. We can launch a lot of different things. I was going to get into that, but I don't think we're going to have time. But that's when you start monetizing. You start making more money, and the more money you make, the bigger impact you make as well. It's all congruent together. Okay? So authority brand. So I wanted to just mention this really quickly because authority brand, a lot of people think that branding is just, and I don't talk too much about branding, but in this way I do. It's not just your colors, it's not just your fonts, it's not just the website that you have. Your authority brand is your authority self. Who are you as an authority? So who are you? What is it that makes you different? And I encourage you to write these things down and then actually journal on them later. And spend 15 minutes or so to dive deep into this. What are your values? What do you truly believe in? Who are you talking to? Because we don't want to be talking to everybody. I really like this movie, Trainwreck. Anybody seen Trainwreck with Amy Schumer? I love that movie. It's hilarious. And there's a scene in there where the editor-in-chief, it's like a men's magazine, and she has her team meeting, and she's like, okay, guys, what is our demographic? Every fucking buddy. No. That is what you should not be doing. Okay, so who are you actually talking to? Who is your ideal person that you want to be reaching, impacting, transforming? And then who are you not talking to? A lot of people are afraid of saying, listen, I don't talk with these people. And they're afraid because, again, we want to be liked. We don't want to reject people. And it's really difficult for a lot of people to actually make it clear, listen, this is who I am. This is what I know, how I'm going to serve in the best way. And these people are just not a good fit for me. It doesn't mean that you think they're weird or whatever. They're just not a good fit for what you have to offer. So I know I don't work with MLM businesses. I know that for a fact. It's just not what I do. I also typically don't work with e-commerce businesses. I've had the experience, didn't like it. Not something I do. Don't work with people that are just money driven. I like people that like money in order for it to make a difference in the world and make an impact, but that's not the main motivator. So who are you not talking to? So definitely encourage you to go through these, and I now have to wrap it up, but can we move the slide a little bit? No, the other way. Okay, so speaking of the authority brand, I have something that might help. So I'm a huge believer in being yourself, in being authentically you, showing up the way you're meant to show up. And when you're able to be truly yourself, you're actually going to impact more people. Because here's the thing, it's much harder to keep that mask on. And when you get some trolls and haters, when you're showing up, which inevitably will happen, by the way, it won't kill you, it's going to hurt a lot more when you're pretending. Because you're like, oh shit, is my mask on not properly? Should I put it on in a better way? You're going to care so much more about it because you're trying. You're trying to be a certain way that you think these people want you to be. So when you're truly yourself, you're just like, you know what, this is how I am, and I'm just going to claim it. I'm just going to own it. And, if you don't like it, well, you don't like it. There's a million other people who do what I do. You don't need to follow me. You're going to be polarizing in a good way. And when somebody is a troll to you and they're like, Kamila, I can't believe you're swearing right now. Well, you're not the person for me, and I'm not going to apologize for being who I am. That's how I express my passion for what I do. And that's what it is. So I have a quiz for you, which will basically tell you there's 9 different entrepreneurial authority styles. So if you go to heartbehindhustle.com/quiz, don't do it right now. Do it like after we're done with all this, because I don't want people to get distracted. This will basically tell you what is your entrepreneurial authority style. So I'll get into what are your strengths, what do you need to like amp up, what do you need to look out for as you, and then how are you going to step into that in your marketing and your business. So that, I had more, but this is what I have for you. So thank you so much for having me.